Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Trending Vegas. I'm Melissa Duran. We have a lot of things to talk about today, but first I want to welcome Natasha Shahani from our city's social media team. And you probably recognize him from Fox's More Show, but now he has his own podcast, a media business. Sean McAllister, how are you?
Good to see you, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you have been busy. You are now part of Vegas Revealed, Insightful Media Company. So talk to us about what you're up to.
Yeah, so the end of 2019 in December, I decided to leave the local news business and start a company with another longtime Nevada broadcaster, Dana Roselli. So we started Insightful Media together. We work on marketing videos for companies and brands. We also host events and do media training. And under the Insightful Media umbrella, we also have a podcast called Vegas Revealed that keeps the world abreast of everything happening in Las Vegas.
And let me tell you, if there are two better people in Las Vegas to talk about Vegas entertainment and what's going on, it is Sean and Dana. They know everything before anybody else. It's amazing. And what I love is that even, when we make that trek to California, Highway Vibe, which you've heard on the radio, they've even picked segments of you guys up for your podcast.
We do weekly entertainment reports, multiple reports throughout the week for Highway Vibe Radio Network. So when you're making that drive to and from Las Vegas and Los Angeles, you'll hear us letting you know what's going on.
What is the funnest part for you guys with staying abreast with all the changes in social media and videos need to be this length or they need to be longer? And what's it like keeping up with that?
Well, it's a constant treadmill that we're on to keep up with social media trends and making sure that the clients we work with are aware of what the trends are for social media. I mean, right now, TikTok is what everybody is looking at.
Right.
But that's a relatively new medium for a newer generation. So business owners who are trying to get the word out about what they do, how they do it, just the general story of what they do and why they created their business. TikTok is something that they've stayed away from, but we're helping them tiptoe into the TikTok arena.
You said that so well, without any plugs. Way to go, Sean. All right, guys. Well, we're happy you're here. We have a lot to talk about. Of course, we have to start the conversation with COVID-19 and some of the mandates we're seeing come in from private and government entities. It feels like every week we're seeing a change. Here's a few of the latest. Las Vegas Raiders to require proof of COVID-19 vaccination for Raiders games at Allegiant Stadium. This one is from Fox 5. All state of Nevada employees who are not fully vaccinated are now required to take weekly COVID-19 tests and submit results to their human resources director. Then we have this from Life is Beautiful. Our most important duty as festival hosts is to keep you and your music-loving peers safe every festival weekend. While we are eagerly awaiting a glorious return to live music, we are putting extra measures in place for the 2021 festival to keep attendees safe from COVID-19. And then we have this. At PMG, Groundhog says, what is considered proof of vaccine? Is a photograph sufficient? Will vaccine names be cross-checked with IDs? This person says, I'm vaccinated and I won't be attending this year because of that mandate. And finally, this from Channel 13. At LVMPD loses another officer to COVID. So definitely just so much going on. Let's go ahead and start with the news everyone is talking about, and that is the Raiders coming out and saying that they are requiring people to be vaccinated so that everyone can go maskless inside of the arena. The governor just came out with this yesterday, and so it's new, and there are a lot of questions boiling up. Sean, what are you seeing on social? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, there's a lot that I'm seeing on social about this. People are saying everything from kudos to the Raiders for implementing this public safety measure. Other people are saying that it's not constitutional, that it's racist, that it's fascist. And I've been replying to people, especially in the constitutional realm of the conversation, and really trying to understand where they're coming from. And they're saying, well, this is my freedom being taken away. Well, there's a big difference between your freedoms and your privileges. It is a privilege to go to a football game or a concert. There is nowhere in the Constitution where you're going to see it written that it is your right to be at these events that are, by the way, put on by private companies.
Right. I mean, and that is really interesting. Natasha, what are you seeing?
We're seeing the same mixed reviews, a lot of backlash as well once the governor came out with a new directive, which is really putting the power in the hands of the event organizers, which I think is a really big thing to state, right? Nobody is mandating this, nobody is forcing this upon anyone. Each organizer is looking at their venues and their events, and they are making their best decision possible. I don't think any of us thought we would be here right now. You know, I have friends who are on the managing team of Life is Beautiful, and they didn't think they would have had to plan, but we are in a different time than we expected 3 or 4 months ago, and everyone is right. The safety of everyone attending the event is of the utmost priority.
You know, it's just really interesting how this is going to be policed, because the Raiders came out and said that they're going to be using the Clear app, correct? And you've used the Clear app before, and what is your experience with it?
So inside that Clear app, which if you travel, if you go to the airport, that's, you know, there's a line for the Clear line to bypass the security. You're pre-checked. I created a digital vaccine card within the Clear app where you put in all your information, but it did not allow me to input the lot number of each of my shots. So actually just this morning, I reached out to them to ask, what's going on here? Are you, like, what is, how valid is my digital card if all of my information isn't even there? So I think there are a lot of issues to still work out. And really, there does need to be one central clearinghouse for this information so that it's not piecemeal and everyone doing their own thing and having their own platform to check the status.
I mean, you also think about the Raiders, and let's just say this, that's a bold move. I mean, when the Raiders came out just yesterday, before we're taping this, saying we're doing this, I sat there at my email going, whoa. I mean, this is, you know what word I want to use, but this is gutsy, and they're going to get a lot of pushback from it. But there's part of me that's like, well, I respect it. Hey, you do what you feel you need to do. You're a private entity, you're a private business. You do what you need to do. But I also think of the season ticket holders who, you know, are anti-vaccine, some who are saying, wait a minute, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands. I've had to wait a year because of COVID, and now you're telling me I am mandated to do this before I can come in. But Sean, you were telling me there are options, correct? Like they can roll over their tickets, or?
Yeah, from what I've seen today is that the team is going to allow season ticket holders to roll their season tickets over to next season if they choose not to be vaccinated and follow the rules that the Raiders have decided to go with. And it seems like Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, was faced with two situations that were presented by Governor Sisolak. Either require a mask mandate for everyone who attends the game, or choose to go the vaccination route and allow people into the game who are completely vaccinated and then have no masks.
Yeah.
And it seems like Mr. Davis decided that it would be much easier to go the vaccine route instead of policing all the masks during every game.
And it goes so far beyond the Raiders, because now we're hearing about different mandates coming down for state employees. The Nevada Higher System of Education is thinking about making their students be vaccinated. They're going to be taking that up. CCSD, you know, students have to wear masks in their classrooms, and that's got parents riled up, right, Natasha?
Yep, there's lawsuits been filed against the governor and the state, and, you know, about these mask mandates. But again, I mean, it's a very difficult decision. Do you risk, you know, another surge and a lot of exposure, or do you try and protect people and keep them safe by asking them to wear masks? I mean, I don't want to be in the Mark Davis position or any of these event or school organizers, because you are up against the odds, and it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for you, because there's no winning either way with people's opinions. But it's a hard decision. Again, I don't think we ever thought we would be in this place again, and it's all about keeping people safe and doing the right thing in the, you know, from the state perspective, from the event organizers, about taking care of people. They're not doing it for themselves, they're doing it for all of you.
Well, and I think that, you know, even these big companies, you know, your AEG and these live concert events, they're trying to figure it out too, because not only are they trying to say, well, we have this venue and we have control over this, then you have the performing artist who might say, I'm not doing it unless everyone's vaccinated, and contracts start coming into negotiation. So I think everyone's trying to figure it out. I do think it's interesting that this is the direction that we're headed. Just a few months ago, we were on the show talking about showing proof of vaccine. Everyone was against it. And here we are.
Yep.
So.
And by the way, CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, which is the largest convention that we have in Las Vegas all year round, they've just announced that they're requiring vaccinations for all attendees for their show coming up early in 2022.
Yep.
So I think the floodgates are open.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to be checking their online places to make sure they know the rules before they go and get turned away. All right, guys, let's switch gears just a little bit. We're going to talk about the first preseason home game for the Raiders. Finally, what an exciting time. But of course, there are still some kinks to work out. So we're not going to talk about the masks or the vaccines right now, but we are going to talk about some of the amazing sights from the game. First, this one from the Raiders. Welcome to the bright lights, the real Trey 7. I just really like the angle shot of this video that we're showing, the player running in. It was amazing. Then we have this from the NFL, which shows the crowd. There is this first ever Raiders tailgate in Las Vegas. There's tons of videos on Twitter if you want to see more. But then, of course, we get to the hard part, which still has some kinks, and that is the parking situation. 8 News Now tweets, pricey parking. While some say they were just happy to find a parking spot, many Raiders fans were frustrated with their parking options outside Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders' first preseason game. And this person tweets, I believe this was known before the stadium was started. No reason it had to be near the strip. So we go back to that whole argument right from the beginning. Natasha, let me start with you. What are you seeing about, social media was flooded on Saturday.
Yes, we saw so much excitement for the first Raiders game with fans. Even though it's a preseason game, right? You never really see this much excitement for a preseason game except here when, the fans are allowed in for the first time. They did a ribbon cutting. The mayor, Goodmans, were present, both of them, and they participated in that. So we saw a lot of excitement. I will say, we did see some parking complaints as well, but not to the extent as we have for past Allegiant Stadium events.
When you have a game in Las Vegas and you have Marie Osmond singing the national anthem and you have Carlos Santana doing the halftime show and you have David Perico as the band leader up there just under the torch with his whole cast. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And there was a moment before the game started when first responders and medical professionals were being honored for what they've done for the Las Vegas community over the past year plus. And it was really touching to see people respond to that in such a visceral way.
Right.
But I mean, there was showmanship on display, as there should be, because it's Vegas.
It's Vegas, baby. All right, let's talk about the parking, because what I thought was interesting when I told you what we were going to talk about today, it was interesting. You were like, well, I was there for the Garth Brooks concert.
Yep.
For that, whole social media debacle where a lot of people were upset, and I was here for this one. So what's been your experience? What would you say? Improved? What was your parking experience?
It was definitely an improved experience, and I did reach out to the Raiders to ask what specifically they've done in order to make that parking experience, the coming and going, a little easier. I haven't heard back from them yet, but you can tell that there have been improvements made. We did choose to park at a different parking lot this time. We parked in one of the tailgating lots that was about a mile away from the stadium during the Garth Brooks concert.
Okay.
This time we parked over at the Luxor East parking lot is what it's called, Lot LE, if you're looking for parking passes. It's $40, which is considerably less than other parking options. But what really was kind of off-putting for us when we arrived is at the site of the Route 91 festival where that shooting happened back in 2017. And it was, I guess we didn't realize that that's where the parking was going to be. And it was unsettling to actually be on location there.
So that actual
again.
lot was part of the shooting incident? Is that what you're saying?
that parking lot was the site of the Route 91 Country Festival.
I mean, I can see how that could be completely makes your stomach
Yep.
turn, makes you want to cry.
Yeah.
So, and I actually, when we were going back to the car, I did start to cry.
Yeah.
It was just such a,
Heavy.
it was very heavy.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to even come up with the words, obviously, to really put to it. But I think just as a public service announcement,
Yeah.
that LE lot, Luxor East, if there is any reaction that you might have associated
Wow.
with that event, just keep that in mind.
Wow, that is good to know. I have not been out to a Raiders game yet. I don't really foresee it in the near future for me, just because some of the things on Twitter today were like, well, all these anti-vaxxers who are refusing to go. StubHub is lined with people waiting to buy those tickets. Parking is another issue for me, so I think I might let it settle down. But thank you so much for your insight on that, and that's good to let people know about that lot.
Well, and just one other quick note, I think that there is going to be a learning process
Yeah.
that Las Vegas has
100%.
with an arena of this size. We've never had a stadium with 60,000 people before. We've had, 20,000
Yeah.
max previously, so I think there's a learning curve.
Yeah, and there's always going to be a learning curve.
Yeah.
There's a COVID-19 learning curve.
Yeah.
We've just been in one big learning curve for the last 18 months, have we not? We have. All right, guys, next. A wake-up call for us here in Nevada as a federal water shortage is declared. The Southern Nevada Water Authority released this video on what exactly that means. They tweeted, because of low water levels at Lake Mead, the federal government has issued a water shortage declaration on the Colorado River, the source of most of our community's drinking water. See what this means to Southern Nevada residents.
So what does the shortage declaration mean for you and me? It means we have to seriously step up water conservation. If everyone in the valley changed their clocks and watered their landscapes on their assigned watering days, we could save more than 7 billion gallons of water, the entire amount of our 2022 water cut.
So the pictures that SNWA gave us, they are alarming. I mean, several years ago, we had water spilling over
Yep.
the dam, and now it's just shocking to me. Natasha, what does the city do? I mean, the city must get a lot of, what are you guys doing? And we want to know. So what is the city doing to kind of help this situation?
We actually did our research yesterday, just to prepare for these questions. And we've actually done a number of things, and I don't want to be wrong, so I'm going to read it. But we've reduced water consumption at our facility. So these are city-owned facilities. And we've reduced it by 2.25 billion gallons in the last decade. Mm-hmm. We've also built LEED certified green buildings. City Hall is one of them. And with these LEED buildings come with water efficient landscaping and low flow fixtures. And we've also partnered with the Southern Nevada Water Authority to really look at our parks to see what is really needed in green and what can we help with and switch over to turf, or what can we do low greenery so we're not having to water as much. And some of these are the same recommendations that they give consumers. And I think that's one of the biggest questions we've gotten is what can I do personally to help conserve? And SNWA.com has 7 quick ideas that can really make a difference. But what I was most shocked to hear was that if everyone followed the seasonal water restrictions, we could save that shortage allotment and more.
Right.
So, I mean, it's something so easy to follow. So I think that's what we're trying to get out there is there are things you can do now that will help us in the long run. And this isn't the first time this has happened. There was a drought years ago. There was no shortage declaration. But because of what the community did to rally and really conserve, they were able to really make a difference. And so I think the problem is conservation efforts have shortened, and I think we just need to get back there. We can do it.
And I may be incorrect, so I don't want to just spread a false rumor out there, but from what I've heard, Nevada's done such a good job with conservation that the allotment that we have been given going forward, we're already at that allotment. We're already reaching that number, but we always want to do more. We're always looking at ways to improve. I saw that federal shortage come out. We were all expecting it. But I got online, I went to SNWA, they're coming out to my house in a couple weeks so I can replace my grass and get some turf, because this is the kind of stuff that scares me. This is the kind of stuff where I say, all right guys, it's time to buckle down. We've got to do something about this for our own families, for our own futures. right?
Well, it is a desert out there, so we need water to survive, right? So it's really in all of our best interests to do everything that we can at our own homes and at work to really conserve as much as possible and make sure that the lifeblood of the Las Vegas Valley continues to be there for us.
Absolutely. All right, guys, some great topics. Sean, thank you so much for being here and giving us all your insightful thoughts.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, public safety is always a priority for the city of Las Vegas. So when we come back, we have our new City Department of Public Safety Chief Luis Molina to talk about his vision for the department. That's coming up.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back, everyone. From our patrolling our city buildings and parks to our own city jail, our Department of Public Safety has their hands full, but their reach in the community goes beyond just policing. I'm pleased to be joined by our Chief, Luis Molina, and guest, Lieutenant Danielle Davis. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
So let's talk first about our city jail. I don't think a lot of people understand, when they think of city jail, they think of CCDC, and that's incorrect. The city of Las Vegas has their own city jail. Can you talk to us about who that holds and what you all do there?
Absolutely. So the city's jail is actually part of the Department of Public Safety, and it's actually the biggest business unit that we have within the department. We have over 200 staff that work at the city jail. It obviously operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we house on average about 500 people are in our custody at the city jail. Both pretrial detainees, people that have just been arrested for majority misdemeanor offenses, but those that are sentenced by our municipal court for a term of time that could be 2 weeks, it could be up to less than a year.
Okay, and at any point, are they transferred over to CCDC if they're, booked on a felony charge or anything like that?
That could happen. Sometimes the county has warrants out on individuals, so after they serve their time with the city, we would transport them to CCDC or another municipality that may be looking for the person. So that does happen from time to time.
Okay. And so, since a lot of people don't know about the city jail, it's not just about, with the conversation I'm having with you guys, it's not really just about holding, inmates and releasing them. It's about rehabilitating them as well and making them great members of our community.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of root causes and drivers why people become justice involved. So at the jail, and Lieutenant Davis oversees this, we try to address those issues, whether we're dealing with substance abuse addiction, issues of physical and mental health. So rehabilitative programming is a vital part of what we do in addition to safety and security.
And Lieutenant Davis, what do you all do? What kind of programs do you all offer?
And so one of the things, as Chief was saying, for justice involved folks, so during COVID, we really wanted to kind of reassess and refocus on really what type of programming we want to provide to our residents. So we have a really great partnership with our inmate service contract provider, which is NAFCare. So on that team, we have a discharge planner who's responsible for all discharge planning. We have licensed social workers that actually focus on the clinical part. We have psychologists and just a gamut of medical professionals, as well as a program officer. So we're our own little interdisciplinary team. And so one of the things, we really discuss offering more of a whole person approach. And so really examining all social aspects for individuals returning back to the community just to set them up for success. So one of the things we really focused on this year was to leverage partnerships in the community. And so right now we have 5 core partnerships. We're working with the Department of Welfare Supportive Services. And so in that partnership, we are able to offer their suspended Medicaid program. And so the way this program works, individuals while in custody are able to apply for health care coverage for those that qualify. And so up to date, we've had around 65 individuals apply and a 40% approval rate. And we all know how important it is to have health care coverage. So we're very excited about that. We are also running a COVID vaccination clinic, and we do that weekly. And so that partnership is with Southern Nevada Health Department as well as the Department of Health and Human Services. So we know what's going on with the pandemic, and so it's very important that we do our part as a jail to offer these services. So to date, our medical department has administered 137 vaccinations to our residents before they return back to the community. And as Chief was saying, we have like a gamut of programming. We have like resource seminars. Those are offered twice a month throughout the housing unit. So they cover a range of topics, from how to apply for unemployment benefits, how to interview for a job, assisting with housing, all type of supportive services out in the community. We're just really trying to focus on bringing them into the jail, really trying to meet our clients where they are.
Right, and that's really interesting because you all are in a unique position. You know, you have people that come into the justice system that have, you know, it performs a misdemeanor. So they're not going to be held for a long period of time. So you have, it sounds like you have a certain amount of time to reach them where they're at before they're released back to make whatever decision they may next. So it's great that you guys have these programs to kind of intercept them and say, hey, here's your chance, we can help before, you know, we can get you on the right path. Is that fair to say?
For sure, and I think, you know, what Lieutenant Davis has described and what she has really modeled here since we've been here over the last 8 months working together is really a continuum of care. 99.9% of these individuals are going to be going back to our communities. So we want to enhance their ability to be as successful as possible. And at the end of the day, that really enhances public safety for all the communities in the city of Las Vegas. So a continuum of care model that really has shown scientifically to really lower recidivism, and that's what we're trying to strive for.
Do you all have any numbers yet, or have you just witnessed for yourselves an improvement in numbers or success stories?
Yeah, so we do track. I mean, we have seen our population lower throughout the last year, and I think that's been a situation that's been going on throughout the nation as more correctional facilities shift toward this really rehabilitative model rather than a model of punishment. We do track the successes, and we work with people like Hope for Prisoners and other nonprofit providers to make sure that they're providing continuous supportive services to these individuals.
And that's great news. The majority of people that do come into the city jail, are they dealing with substance abuse? Is that a fair assessment?
We have a pretty high percentage. So as part of that, like I was mentioning with our social workers, they provide more of the psychosocial and skill buildings. And so we really want to focus on mental health issues as well as substance abuse disorder. And so as Chief was stating, we really are working on bringing resources in. And as I stated, meeting clients where they are. July 1st, we have what we call our Community Resource Fair. And we have 41 partners in the community coming to the facility. And we were able to make 132 face-to-face contacts for our residents with service providers. So it's really our goal just to really set people up to be successful when they return back to the community.
That's great news.
Yeah.
And Chief, you've been with us for how long now?
It's been 8 months now.
Okay, 8 months. So let's hear your vision for your department in terms of enhancing public safety.
Sure. So I think, you know, for the department, for me, we're in a unique space because we have two of the main pillars of our criminal justice system. We have policing with our marshals, and then we have the detention facility, which is our jail. And really trying to leverage both strategies in order to deal with vulnerable populations, whether that's individuals in the street or with people that end up being justice involved in our jail. We're really shifting so that we can enhance public safety throughout all the communities in Las Vegas, specifically so residents can use our city parks, use our city facilities, whether those are pools and community centers, as well as our tourist corridor on Fremont Street from Main to Las Vegas Boulevard. We want everyone to be able to enjoy this great city.
Absolutely, and it is such a fabulous city. Before we go, do you have any recruitment efforts right now?
Yes, so we're currently hiring. We're hiring for deputy city marshals. We're hiring for correctional officers. I'll plug in Muni Court because Muni Court marshals are also recruiting for staff. So it's a fabulous career. I've been doing law enforcement for over 20 years, and I just really love the work that we're able to do.
Well, we are so grateful for all the work you guys are doing. Thanks for taking our city jail to more of a rehabilitative format. Excited to see those numbers as they come in. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's going to do it for Trending Vegas. Remember you to sign up for our newsletter so you can get the show directly to your email inbox. You can also always catch us on KCLV.TV as well as Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV through our Go Vegas app. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.